right there. Got him. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Not probably a more effective technique that works absolutely everywhere. There we go. Look at that guy. That is what it's all about right there. All right, what is going on, guys? Today we are back with another video. We're up here in Minnesota today, and look around. It is just like classic midsummer, hot, calm, you know, kind of dog days of summer. And I have been just fishing a ton the past week and a half here, and it is not for lack of effort that I've not been getting videos. It's just like all of a sudden my timing is off. Like I have no idea what I'm even doing anymore. We've been catching fish everywhere we go, but just kind of like not quite enough, right, for a good video. I'm kind of trying to transition out of trying to do like 5-7 videos a week and do like 2-3 really good ones a week on different stuff. So it's kind of in a combination of those two things. This midsummer dog days has just punched the walleyes right in the face, it seems like. And if you're experiencing the same kind of funk, slower fishing than as I am anyways, this video should be a good one. But like I said, today we're up here in Minnesota, and we're gonna be doing we'll see what happens, right? We might start doing one thing and do another thing. That's kind of the way the whole last week has been for me. But I'm gonna shut up. We're not gonna do too much talking, and we gotta find some fish and start fishing for them. But like I said, if you guys are experiencing the same funk I am, this video should be kind of a good informational dog days of summer walleye video. So stay tuned. We gotta find some fish, get some baits in front of them, and then hopefully catch some fish, and hopefully that pattern kind of holds throughout the day. So stay tuned. Let's get it going on, catch some fish up here in Minnesota. All right, well, we're just getting going here, and found some fish, and we'll kind of throw up some screenshots of what they look like right here. Drove around for about 20 minutes, half an hour, and found, you know, a bunch of very spread out fish, and then this spot seems to have a few more kind of on it. And a lot of times what you see on days like this, these kind of real slow dog days type stuff, is the fish are no longer like on the sweet spots, right? Like let's say you have a rock bar or a rock spine that like tops at 20, breaks out to like 30, and normally there's like one corner that just has like a lot of character. And you know, most of the time the walleyes are kind of right on that knob, right? That character spot. Well, a lot of times on these real tough kind of grinder condition days, what you have is fish kind of spread out and kind of float down the sides of that thing. Maybe instead of being on top, they're relating to a transition in 27 to 28 feet of water. A lot of that kind of stuff can happen. So if you might have a ton of waypoints on a certain lake, you get out there on a day like this, and all of a sudden there's no fish there, and you're seeing fish just on like flat sections off of those sweet spots. And that's exactly what it is today. So we're gonna start out pulling a spinner, kind of targeting some of these fish that are a little bit more spread out, and we'll kind of see if the day goes on, if we can do something different, maybe go to lead core just because it's gonna be a little bit quicker and more efficient. But for right now, we're just gonna get the 2B fish and trolling rod out, and because we're in Minnesota, one line a person, get a bottom bouncer out, and spinner rig and a crawler, and that's what we're gonna start with. So we'll catch back up with you when we get a fish. Right there, hooked up. Just getting things going. Feels like probably a pretty decent fish here. I'm biting 24 feet of water, just kind of coming off the tail end of one of these humps out here. And imagine we're gonna be rifling through all sorts of blades and rigs today. One thing you kind of notice, especially in Minnesota where you're dealing with one rod, I feel like in Wisconsin, you know, when I got 3 rods out, most times somebody with me, we're running 6 rods. That pattern happens normally like really quick. You know, you start catching fish on something, and then you're immediately kind of, you know, putting more on your other rods. Where with one rods, I think it's just going to take more experimenting to kind of find, you know, exactly, you know, what color works, because you can obviously only fish one at a time. Which is fine. People are always like, oh, you know, you're allowed so many rods in Wisconsin. You know, it sucks for us over here in Minnesota. Well, there's like way more walleyes in Minnesota. It's hard for me to explain that to probably people. Oh yeah, nice walleye here. And on these spinner rigs, you just got to be so careful. I might even just stall us out for a second here. This is just exactly what we're hoping to do on repeat today. Just catch a whole ton of these kind of dog days of summer Mille Lacs walleyes. And man, I absolutely love trolling. It's just one of those things that, you know, it's probably more fun if you're the guy driving the boat. If you're the guy who's not driving the boat, yeah, you get to reel in a lot of fish, but it's probably not as exciting if you're not the guy driving the boat. And that's because generally you're the guy making the patterns, looking at the fish, trying to dial them in, things like that. That's kind of why I absolutely love trolling. It's just kind of efficiency to the maximum. This guy's hooked just right in the roof of the mouth. There we go, he's off. There we go, number one. Look at this day. Flat as can be out here, bright sun, hot conditions, and we're gonna catch a ton of these Mille Lacs Lake walleyes today, pulling spinner rigs. Let's let that guy go. Do it again and again and again. Man, does that feel good. There you go, back for more. Let's do it again. Kind of the blade we started with here. Kind of one of these bait fish kind of rig things, blue. It's kind of one of my favorite colors back home as well, that and purples, and just a little floater in here. So we'll get her rig back up, send her back down, hopefully catch another walleye. All right there, we got him. Oh, just let number one go. Kind of just turned around and pulled back through where we got that one because there's so many fish there. That's one of the nice parts about fishing one line, is you're very nimble and you got a whole fleet of planer boards and stuff like that out. You're kind of locked down into going a certain direction for a certain duration of time. The other nice part is, like, once you're going, you can just kind of turn the trolling motor off and just kind of slow down and fight the fish if you want, which feels bizarre. I'm used to just, you know, constantly going in Wisconsin, leaving as many rods out as we do. And doesn't feel too shabby of a fish. Here goes digging good. Man, it is just unbelievably hot and flat out today. And no matter where you've been, you've probably had a lot of days like this season. All right, here's my bottom bouncer. Yeah, nice walleye right there. Come here, buddy. And it can make for some tough fishing, especially on a lot of your clear bodies. Well, really anywhere. You know, a lot of times even your stain bodies of water, they just don't fish good. And wind does a lot for fish as far as setting them up. It kind of gets the whole food chain going, in my opinion, a lot of times. And you get these hot, flat days. And normally what you see is, oh, we got GoPro problems happening. Normally what you see on a lot of these hot, flat days is fish spread out a lot. There's not like a serious, you know, super big concentration on that tip of the rock bar or things like that that you're used to fishing. So a lot of times trolling on these kind of days, especially something finessey like a spinner rig, definitely can be the way to kind of get it done. There we go, nice walleye there. Let's let him go. Do it again and again and again. That's the same color blade. I think we'll just kind of keep rocking it because when we get in front of them, they seem to be biting this one. Right there, fish on. There we go. Just putting the drone away and the rod goes off. Well, we have not been fishing for a very long time, and we're definitely putting it together. Now, is there other things you can do on days like this? Yeah, there definitely is other ways to catch fish, but the main thing is, it seems like you got to be covering water, and trolling is, you know, generally the most efficient way to cover a whole bunch of water. There you go, gotta get the net out. And so far I have no complaints with what we're doing. Now if we start going through just like huge wads of fish and not getting bit, then yeah, then it's time for something different. I don't know if I'm more of a fan of keeping the trolling motor going when we have a fish on or not keeping it going. Suppose the second I lose a fish, I'm like, oh yeah, nice walleye here. Then I'll start. Whoa, 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 no. All right, there we go. We got him. I said the second I lose a fish, which he almost did there, then I'm gonna do the other thing. But there we go, nice walleye. And we've been fishing for probably about 20 minutes, half an hour now, which is by no means like crazy fishing, but you know, there's a lot worse things you could be doing today that could be much less effective. There we go, nice walleye right there. And these little I think these are number 4s, octopus hooks are just getting them good. There we go right there. Beautiful northern Minnesota walleye. We'll take them like that all day long. Cool pattern, catching a bunch of fish. Let's let them go. And a lot of times when things get tough, like they have been for me the past week here, it is obviously kind of going back to the basics, which often catches more fish. You know, you think about a tough bite and everybody wants to go, oh, we got to do find this special lure that the fish bite. Well, to be honest with you, most of the time it's just going back to something very simple, like some kind of weight, some kind of hook, and some kind of live bait on there. And that 99% of the time catches far more fish when a bite's tough. All right, let's talk about the rigging real quick. How are we rigging up? What are we doing? Well, obviously trolling. Kind of my favorite all-around trolling rod that I use for pretty much everything is the 8.5 foot. This is Two Brothers Innovation. I'll link this down below. Click on the description. You'll see everything I'm using. Two Brothers Innovation. This is the Genesis trolling series. This is the 8.5 footer. This is the one where probably most you guys are going to use. The most universal one, where I pretty much use for everything. Telescopic, so I can put 9 of them in my side rod box. Just an awesome rod. But generally, bottom bouncer rods, you want something with a spongy tip that slowly transitions into more backbone, kind of similar with a lot of trolling rods. You want that fish to kind of load up and get that tip to kind of walk back, and then before they know it, they're just hooked, right? I'm running mono on here. Generally, all my trolling stuff, I run 10 or 12 pound mono, run the same thing on every rod so you can duplicate your depth and things like that, because a lot of those small things will matter. Line counter reel, this is just a cheaper Okuma Magda one, but they're pretty much indestructible. Use them forever. If you want to go to step up, I run a lot of cold waters as well. And then, yeah, we're running that all the way down to, I'm running a 1 ounce bottom bouncer. I'm sure a lot of you guys who do a lot of bottom bouncing are like, holy cow, why are you running such a light bottom bouncer? 2 ounce, I would say, is kind of the standard. We already got the spinner rig and a rope. Just to let you guys know that none of this is scripted. We got the spinner rig and a rope here. But a lot of guys run 2 ounce bottom bouncers, which obviously takes less line to achieve depth, which in one aspect can be a good thing. I like running a 1 ouncer, especially when I'm fishing rock. And the reason for that is I'm gonna have a lot more line out when I'm fishing this. But one thing you notice when you get to a lighter bottom bouncer size is you get snagged a lot less. And the reason for that is if you're running the 2 ouncer and you make a corner or you hit a big wave and you slow down a little bit, that thing's gonna drop very fast like a rock. And a lot of times it'll hang up a lot more. So although if you're fishing, 27 feet of water and you have a 2 ouncer on, you might be like 55, 60 feet back. And with a 1 ouncer, you might be closer to 100 feet back when you're fishing those same depths. It has a lot less of a tendency as you turn to kind of fall down in. So this will tick bottom a lot more than it'll get stuck in bottom. And generally, whenever you're trying to touch bottom with a bottom bouncer, I always try to be, within a foot or two of the bottom is specific. But a lot of times when you're touching bottom with a bottom bouncer, the more line you have out, the less you're going to get snagged. And you always want the least amount of line out where you're still touching bottom. So yeah, if you send this back 300 feet, it'll definitely be touching bottom. It's just going to be going sideways and just dragging on the bottom. And we don't want that. You want this thing running just perfectly flush to the bottom, just ticking the bottom or just up above the bottom. Because most of those fish, a foot or two off bottom or on the bottom, and they got no problem coming up and biting this thing. And then generally one thing I do is I like to go to longer leads. So the standard bottom bouncer or spinner rigs anywhere from like 3 to 5 feet. Especially in a tough bite, I like to extend this out. And mine right now is probably like 7 or 8 feet long. And I'm just kind of running your standard forage kind of type of blade there. And then I like these ones that have these little floats in here, especially also a good tip when you're fishing rock. Because as you turn, as you slow down, you don't want, especially a lake that has zebra mussels like this one, if this gets down in there, you're going to snag a zebra mussel, you might lose your rig, and on top of that, you're just not going to know. Sometimes what will happen is these hooks, if they touch bottom, they'll just grab a part of a zebra mussel, and then you're dragging around a rig that's not fishing right without knowing it. So having that little float in there is kind of a nice key. And then a lot of bottom bouncer rigs or spinner rigs are like 15, 17 pound fluoro. This is all the way down to like a 10 pound. So one thing I always say when the bite's tough, Do everything right. Take away all the variables that might keep fish from biting, and a lot of times that's kind of the secret to catching more fish. Right there. Got him. Ooh, ooh, ooh. That's feeling right. All right, we are hooked up again here. Just came over kind of down a transition. Basically what I'm saying is kind of came off a kind of a 26-foot rocky area where it kind of sloped out and hit softer bottom. Just marked a big pot of fish right where that interchange takes place. And a lot of times on these kind of days, that's kind of, you know, where these fish hang out. It's also kind of the natural progression where a lot of these fish kind of end up in that late summer time frame. Progressively less and less fish in that kind of on top of stuff, and more fish kind of out over a lot of that mud. You know, the same thing, you know, kind of some of your notorious bites, the Mille Lacs mud bite, you know, your Lake of the Woods, you know, pulling lead core out in the mud, a lot of those things that kind of happen in the middle of summer, late into the year. I think we got another nice walleye on here. Here's my net. All right, buddy, play nice for us. Oh, he's taking some line. Oh man. The heat is literally turning off the GoPros. There we go. We got the chesty back on now. There we go. Another nice walleye. We'll scoop him up. There we go. Getting it done. Picking away at him slowly but surely. Another nice, healthy Minnesota walleye right there. Come here, buddy. Just gonna grab you real quick. Pop him off. That little octopus hook just stuck right in the corner. Oh, he's biting me. There we go. Calm down, buddy. We're just gonna show you off for a second. There we go. Beautiful fish right there. Getting it done. Nice healthy fish too, man. And it is hot out today. Very, very hot, so we're not gonna leave these fish out of the water too long. Get them right back in the water. There he goes. Awesome. Well, I think we're kind of slowly transitioning kind of progressively deeper. And we kind of started filming this video as, oh, you know, kind of late morning. And now, you know, it's kind of the middle of the day now. These fish are definitely sliding off, getting a little bit deeper, but that's all right. We'll just follow them around. Got him right there, hooked up. Well, out of curiosity, I threw a gold blade on for a little bit, made a pass and nothing happened. Immediately put old Lucky Blue back on and boom, fish on. One other thing I've been doing off camera is kind of lengthening my lead, getting the harness farther away from that that bottom bouncer, and that has definitely seemed to have made a difference as well. I always say when everything's difficult or when the bite is tough, do everything right or make everything a little bit cleaner and better. And oftentimes it is kind of the key to getting through some of these tougher bites. If a lot of your bottom bouncers are, ooh, he's running pretty good. If a lot of your spinner rigs are like 17-pound fluoro and 5 feet long, make them like 10 feet long. And go to like a 12-pound or a 10-pound fluoro, especially if you're fishing clear water. I'm gonna slow us down for a second here. Oh yeah, definitely the right kind of fish right there. He's just hooked on that tail, that farther back hook here. No, 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 no. That's why he's fighting kind of harder. We'll take them all today though. After the week I've had of difficult fishing. Come here, buddy. Just gonna scoop you up quick. There we go. That is what I'm talking about. It feels good. Been out for a little over an hour now and getting a few fish to go. On a day that I'm sure is gonna be tough to get fish to go, kind of no matter what kind of presentation you're fishing. And that fish is just pinned right in the corner on that back hook. And there we go. Just another nice chunky one. I'm impressed with this lake. It's kicking out a lot of these real healthy, stocky fish this year. That is absolutely phenomenal to see. There we go. Let's get that guy back. and catch some more fish. Too awesome. Patterns are never, there he goes. Patterns are never easy to come by. It seems like in the middle of summer. Everywhere I've been the last week, fishing's just been tough, and it's like catch one doing this, catch two doing this. And this has definitely been one of those presentations that seems to be getting it done when all others won't. Pulling harnesses real slow on some of these deeper transitions and deeper structures. Awesome. All right, so a lower trolling, and a lot of trolling is just kind of put the motor down and go. Always, always, always be looking for fish, because very rarely is trolling just like make a 2-mile pass in this direction and then make the same pass back, right? We're trying to go through a lot of sweet spots. We're waypointing fish out, and a lot of times we kind of use that to plot our trail. So, let's say we fish this spot for 45 minutes to an hour, and we kind of loop a sweet spot several times. Your graph should look something like this. And a lot of times I use that to kind of dictate my course. Every time I see a nice pot of fish, I drop a waypoint in an area that looks productive. And then generally by the 3rd or 4th, 5th pass, or the rest of the day, kind of depending on how long you want to fish one spot, you just kind of keep connecting these waypoints as you go to kind of keep you in those fish for a lot longer period of time. And we're looking for screenshots that are going to look something like this right here. Now you might see 10 schools that look like this. You might see 2 schools that look like this. You might see 50. Kind of depends on, what body of water you're on, how stacked up are those fish and things like that. But we're seeing screenshots that look something like this. That lets us know that's a spot. Drop a waypoint, go through it, and after a couple passes, like I said, you're gonna have that course really plotted out, kind of how you want to troll it. And trolling is no different than anything else. You're trying to keep your bait around those fish for the longest period of time. So waypointing those schools of fish out, looping through them, going back and forth, and kind of plotting that course down a larger area is absolutely the key to catching more fish when you're trolling. Right there, hooked up. Oh, feels decent too. Listening to some Blues Traveler, got the bite. It's all about the small things, right? All right. Now he's kind of coming at me weird. Pulling spinners, middle of summer. Not probably a more effective technique that works absolutely everywhere than doing this. Feels like we got probably a decent fish on here, and it feels good to be putting it all together. Come on, buddy, where are you at? 30 feet back. And I'm running a 1 ouncer just to kind of give myself, so I can kind of get that thing down in there a little bit more and have it a little bit more wispy and touch a few more rocks. The heavier you go on a bottom bouncer, a lot of times, it's much harder to make contact with the bottom, especially if you're fishing rocks where you might get hung up a lot. You can see the bouncer here. Oh yeah, nice walleye here. Slow us down for a second. That is what I'm talking about. Look at that guy go. Oh, too awesome. Too awesome. Come here, buddy. We're just gonna scoop you up. Just gonna put you on YouTube real quick. Oh, there we go. Too awesome. That's a hardy fish right there. And we are doing some damage now. He's actually off in the net, just absolutely perfect. That is just as good as it gets. Middle of summer walleye fishing right there. And there we go. Look at that guy. That is what it's all about right there. Dialing them up. Things are definitely a little bit more difficult midsummer like this, but you kind of put all the pieces of the puzzle together and tweak some of those smaller things, and that can go a long ways. And then stick to it. You need the determination to stick to it. Beautiful walleye right there. Let's let that one go and get back at it. See you later, dude. Oh, just a gorgeous, gorgeous sight. Nice and healthy. Away she goes. All right, well, that is gonna do it for today's video. I appreciate you guys watching this one. It feels good to be back on the train to success where we're getting videos done. And a lot of times when I shoot videos, it's like generally I go out, I find a bite, I know that bite's going to be good, or I generally have a pretty good confidence that bite's going to be good, and I kind of do one thing for the duration of the time, and very seldom do we have to switch 100 times over. And that is just the way the last week has been. I've been switching presentations a lot, switching bodies of water a lot, and it kind of feels good to get a video completed on a pattern that is obviously working. So I appreciate you guys watching this one. Let me know what you guys want to see next. If the fish cooperate, there will definitely be a higher consistency of videos coming in the near future. So thank you guys for watching. If you're not yet, please subscribe. Stay tuned for more content. We'll see you next time.